Your family's uncle is Bernie Madoff, as I understand it. You're like the niece, but right to your family, he's the uncle. My understanding is there's pretty significant loss that he actually did this even to his own family.
So when he was sentenced to 150 years, I went there, thought he was going to try to explain it to me in a way that I wouldn't understand. But he told me something that truly kind of changed the trajectory of my life and my work. He said, this didn't start when I made my first bad investment. It started when I was a kid in Brooklyn and none of the other kids would play with me. And so I would go door to door with nickels, bribing them to play with me. And that's when I learned attention and adoration can be bought.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
He was that open and vulnerable.
He was that open and vulnerable. Yeah.
Most people can't relate to that life event, but they can relate to tragedy. They can relate to a dream falling apart.
Yeah.
You know, in fact, most people can. I want to begin to normalize it's okay at some point to say this is enough. So you made a bunch of money young. Mm-hmm. It wasn't what you thought.
No.
What did you think it was, and what was it actually when you did it?
I think there was a part of me that, if I'm truly being honest with myself in this moment, was I wanted to make up for the loss that my family had just received. Not just financially, but emotionally. You know, you have this date on your calendar. Maybe it's an acquisition, maybe it's a promotion, maybe it's something, and you say to yourself, like, once I can get this, then I can relax, you know, be with my family. Then I can feel successful, then I can feel fulfilled. I've not met one person where that's actually been true.
Hey, welcome back to the show, you guys. I am so excited. I sought this lady out to have her on the show. And I was telling her off camera, I've been watching her stuff forever, but I wasn't following you. So it was very strange because she comes up in I watch so much of your stuff that you come up in my feed all the time. And the reason that I'm interested in your content is I believe it's so good and so valuable. And so every once in a while, you guys, you know, I pick somebody who I had not met before because I want to meet them and I want to get to know them. And I'm a fan of her work. She's got a really unique story, even a little Madoff in the story. So stay tuned for that. This is going to be a great hour that you guys are going to enjoy. We're going to talk about public speaking. We're going to talk about climbing in business. We're going to talk about the trade-offs of success and what you have to give up to do that. I love the book, by the way. I read the book. I didn't just do the Cliff Note thing. I read the book. It's Making It Without Losing It. She's also an expert on public speaking, and we're going to have a great journey today. Jess Ekstrom, welcome to the show.
Ed, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, you're awesome.
So are you.
Thank you. Off camera, I've already enjoyed our time.
I know.
Let's start with the headline grab first.
Well,
if we don't get right into it, it's like, let's just do it first.
Yeah.
Your family's uncle is Bernie Madoff, as I understand it. You're like the niece or great niece or whatever, but right to your family, he's the uncle.
Yeah.
And in your family, my understanding is there's pretty significant loss that he actually did this even to his own family. So your family invested most of their money, is that fair, with Madoff and lost it.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering what that time taught you about what really matters, loss, etc. What did that teach you?
And as a public speaking expert, as you say, this will get me choked up and maybe a little quivery, so bear with me. It's not something I've talked about a lot, but I just remember in high school coming downstairs one morning, and we had this routine with my parents. They'd have the Today Show on, they'd be dressed to work out, the lights would be on, they'd be making breakfast, and this one morning I came down and none of that was happening, and the lights were off, they weren't dressed to work out, and something just felt off. And I asked them what was going on, and they told me, you know, it was exam week at school. Just go do your exams. We'll talk about it when you get home. And I remember my sister and I pulling out of the driveway and my dad running out the front door and just tapping on our window and saying, one more thing, don't turn on the news today.
Oh my gosh.
And this was before, you know, we got alerts of every bad thing happening in the world, you know, sent to our phone. And so went to school, came home. We had this guest room attached to the garage that had this TV in it that I would watch all the shows I wasn't allowed to watch because my parents, you know, couldn't hear it. And so I go in there before they knew I was home, and I turned on the TV. And that was when I just saw it on every channel, was Bernie Madoff stealing $64 billion in his Ponzi scheme. It was this surreal outer body experience, because not only did I in that moment realize my parents probably just lost everything they worked for, that our family was now swept up into this frenzy of just not knowing which way was up. And but I will tell you, it was
Wow.
I think sometimes, as speakers, you're like always trying to find what's the silver lining, and that took a long time to figure out what that was.
I bet.
But it happened when I visited him in prison, which again I don't really talk about a lot.
Whoa.
But, yeah.
Whoa, whoa.
I don't know. Did you even? Maybe you didn't even know that. But
No.
so when he was sentenced to 150 years, it was in Butner, North Carolina, which I live in Raleigh, and so it was like 45 minutes from me. This is kind of just, what do I do with that? And so I wrote him a letter and asked if I could visit him. He was very, very yes, because not a lot of people were,
Sure.
obviously. And when I went there, and sat in front of him, I kind of, thought he was going to try to explain it to me in a way that I wouldn't understand, stock markets and just stuff that I didn't get. But he told me something that truly kind of changed the trajectory of my life and my work. He said, this crime didn't start when I made my first bad investment. It started when I was a kid in Brooklyn, and none of the other kids would play with me. And so I would go door to door with nickels, bribing them to play with me.
Oh my gosh.
And that's when I learned attention and adoration can be bought.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so that was...
He was that open and vulnerable
He
with
was
you.
that open and vulnerable. That changed over time. I visited him for years, and I think he kind of... I don't know what happened, but in the beginning, it was very... He saw himself. He saw how this happened.
He had done some self-analysis.
Some self-analysis, exactly. Yeah.
Wow. Our whole interview is not going to be about this, but it's so fascinating because it's going to lead to questions I'm going to ask you in a few minutes about life in general that you've learned. But I'm just curious, how is your family? Is there a silver lining, or was it just a devastating event and it is what it is?
I appreciate that question, because it was, now being a mom myself, I have a 1 and a 3-year-old, and watching what my parents and my family had to go through during that time and all the uncertainty, I just feel for them. But they eventually went on to, they started, they had their own company, and then eventually sold it and became park rangers.
Really? Really?
I mean, we were talking about this before, how some people are like, they know what's enough.
Yeah.
And even if it's not this big number that you thought that originally years prior that they were going to have. And now they help me, me and my husband with our kids. My sister became like an ultra marathon runner. But the truly interesting story, I think, from the kind of the silver lining from this is my grandparents, who were retired and lost everything. They started a cab driving company, taking people to the airport. And
After this,
so
Okay.
in their like 80s.
oh my gosh.
And of course I was like, oh my gosh, poor things, taking people to the airport, and they should be just retired. My grandma, she always told me she thought she was like born in the wrong decade. She wanted to be just a businesswoman, and she became that in her 80s, just running this cab company.
And that likely never happens.
Yeah.
Well, certainly never happens.
Yeah.
If this tragic event doesn't take place.
Yes. It's
Isn't God awesome? And aren't human beings resilient? We have more resiliency than we realize.
Yes.
I mean, for your grandmother and grandfather to pick themselves up somehow, clearly God comforted them and had his hand on their lives during that time. But the other piece of it is we're more resilient than we think we are. At that age, to get
100%.
back up again, that's pretty unbelievable.
If you had said, this is like what you're going to go through, or what my parents, no way. And then you realize you're just more strong than you give yourself credit for.
Gosh. It leads to what I want to talk about today. Although I'm really glad I asked you that, because that's bizarre.
It's
I mean,
it's pretty
that's going to
wild.
be that's a life event that most people can't relate to that life event, but they can relate to tragedy. They can relate to a dream falling apart.
Yeah.
In fact, most people can. And there's a lot you say in this book that interests me. Like, I want to begin to normalize it's okay at some point to say this is enough. Like the social media and the internet's made us all think we have to run to the end of our life after trillions of dollars and 3 Lamborghinis, and like it's just made that normal as opposed to living life on your own terms. We were talking about somebody off camera that I shared with you that's going to retire now, and she's living life on her own terms, and I'm so proud of her for calling that shot. You have made a lot of money yourself young, and you have this part of the book. I forget the term that you use, but it's essentially, actually, I'm going to find the term because I liked it so much. Making it without losing yourself is one of the terms. And the other thing that you have in there is this term, this is going to get normalized after today's show, the arrival trap. So you made a bunch of money young. It wasn't what you thought.
No.
What did you think it was, and what was it actually when you did it?
I've thought about this because I think when I first started my first company, I think there was a part of me that, if I'm truly being honest with myself in this moment, was I wanted to make up for the loss that my family had just received, not just financially, but emotionally. You know, I wanted my parents, I wanted to do something so good that the bad became white noise. And so I started this, social impact company called Headbands of Hope, and went really well. We did headbands for the NBA, the WNBA, eventually got on to get acquired.
It went huge, and it was awesome. Like
Yeah.
the reason behind it was awesome as well. But
It was.
Yeah.
And you have this date on your calendar. Maybe it's an acquisition, maybe it's a promotion, maybe it's something. And you say to yourself, like, once I can get this, then I can relax, be with my family. Then I can feel successful. Then I can feel fulfilled. I've not met one person where that's actually been true.
It's not true.
It's not true. And so this pinnacle for me, my date on my calendar, was an acquisition. I'm like, once I can do something that really not a lot of women do, and have this 7-figure exit, and if anything, I almost felt worse, because you think it's going to be the thing that makes you feel better. And I talk about this in the book. There's science behind it. And Olympians face this, where they go to the Olympics and then all of a sudden they're depressed after. And it's this post-achievement letdown where you have so much focus on a singular moment or a singular outcome that you think is going to fix or heal or complete part of you. And when it's not, it can be extremely disappointing. And so what I am trying to fix, this arrival trap of this once I, then I that we get in our head. We all have it, but it's not going to be the thing. Like, there's no single achievement that's going to cure our ambition.
Yeah.
And so if we realize, like, all we have is the process, who we're becoming along the way, like the fun experiments, the mistakes, and there's not like one thing that's going to be this like ribbon cutting feeling, then it gets us out of this singular mindset.
Yeah, you're a wise soul for being so young, because I've made that mistake many times, not just once. I keep moving the goalpost.
Yeah.
Okay, so that wasn't the thing. So then if I get to this thing or that house or this achievement or help that many people, and some of it becomes noble too. You think, okay, now it's not about material things. I'm going to be happy once I've helped this many people. But you're delaying this event. Have you seen, I want to just stay on this just for a second. Have you seen the show The Madison, written by Taylor Sheridan?
No, I
It's
haven't.
with Kurt Russell and Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
There's this great, I'll butcher it, but there's this great opening scene of the show. He's this rich financier from New York, but he's got this place in Montana that he goes every year that's beautiful, like it's his refuge. He's sitting on this porch with his brother. They're literally in rocking chairs looking at this river, beautiful scenery, and he's telling his brother that he was just on this vacation in the Caribbean. And the reason that you learn this lesson so young is so beautiful, and I want everybody to hear it from you. He says, we're just in the Caribbean, and he goes, we were sitting on our balcony, and we were watching I'm butchering the scene, but it's my version of it. And he said, I'm looking down at the beach, and there's all these 80-year-olds walking on the beach, kind of limping along, and they all worked and waited their entire life for this moment. This was the moment. And he said, and they got there, and it was too late. They really can't walk anymore.
Yeah.
They're ill. They're suffering with a disease. They're at dinner that night, and they really don't communicate anymore. And he goes, they delayed their happiness their entire life for this moment, and they actually finally got the moment, and it was too late.
I was with my daughter before I came here, and I got her this sticker book. And she's a big sticker girl right now. And she wanted to use all of the stickers, all 100 whatever of them in one sitting. And I started to say, honey, no. You got to save your stickers. You can't use them all in one sitting. And then, Ed, I realized I am about to teach her what I'm actively trying to unlearn, which is delaying my joy. And I realized in that moment, watching her use all these stickers, how many gift cards do I have in my drawer that are now expired?
My gosh, that's so true.
How many outfits do I have where I'm waiting for the perfect date night or the perfect moment to put them on? And it's too late.
Yeah, you're so right.
And so I was like, yeah, girl, use those stickers.
Good.
Use the stickers because this is all we got.
You're so right. I'm so glad that you talk about this, and actually as a young person too, because I've made that mistake.
Yeah.
And I'm not as young as I once was. I wish I knew that at your age. It's hard though. Let me ask you a tough question. Theoretically, that is true. But this grind in you thing, that dog, that hunt, that I'm going to go get it, that I'm going to sacrifice things other people aren't willing to sacrifice to do something great, also is required.
Yes.
Yet you say in the book, you kind of felt like you lost yourself. You actually have a whole part on that. So where's the nuance? Where's the sweet space you're supposed to be? If you're a family that's looking for a new path to help their child succeed, K-12 could be the perfect fit. K-12 Powered Schools offers, listen to this, tuition-free, accredited online public education for students kindergarten through 12th grade. They're going to meet your child's needs, meaning they're going to figure out the best way to educate your child on their learning style. K-12's been a leader in online education for over 25 years. They're the best. They provide everything a student needs to feel safe, motivated, and then basically thrive in a learning environment. Flexible education options tailored to each child's needs, interests, and goals for the future. Students will belong to a real, vibrant, engaged online community so they don't feel alone or isolated in their learning. There's also opportunities for extracurricular stuff to help them connect with peers and explore interests as well. So there's socialization that you can control and set the setting for as well. So see how K-12 Powered Schools can help unlock your child's full potential. Enroll online today at k12.com/Mylett. That's the letter K, number 12.com/Mylett. Number one thing that's frustrating for me when I'm working with business owners that I coach is how inaccessible they are, the amount of missed calls they have, or the time delay between a prospect reaching out and them getting back to them. Even if your script isn't perfect, your product isn't perfect for somebody, but you actually have actively aggressive response time, that you have a better chance of producing a result in your business. So running a business means you need to be reachable, and until you're at that point where you are all the time, you're losing out to competitors that are. The moment you miss a call, a text, or a follow-up, a competitor's the one that picks up and swoops in and gets your client. So you need Quo, spelled Q-U-O. It's a business phone system, so you never miss an opportunity. It's built for you. It gets your calls, your texts, voicemails, so you or anyone on your team can pick up a conversation, see the history, respond fast. So money is on the line here. Always say hello with Quo. Try Quo for free, plus 20% off your first 6 months when you go to quo.com/Mylett. That's quo.com/Mylett.
I know, because sometimes I have this fear where if I'm content with myself, does that mean that I'm not going to build things?
You're going to lose the thing.
Exactly. Will I
Yes.
lose my edge? And
Yes.
that's what this book explored. I'm like, can we do both? Can we be just ambitious towards the future while being happy in the present? And a couple things that I've learned. So ambitious people, which you are, I am, I have a feeling anyone listening to this show is, you will always have a gap.
You got it.
Always have a gap between where you're standing now and where you want to be. But how you see that gap is the difference.
Okay, what do you mean?
So that gap can either be a disappointing net loss of like, dang, I'm not on that stage today. Like, I wanted that, I'm less, they're better than me. Or that gap between where you're standing and where you want to be, the stage you want to be on, is an exciting opportunity to see what you're made of. I wonder what it would take for me to get on that stage with Ed and John and whoever it might be. I wonder what it would take for me to become a New York Times bestseller. Didn't get it this time. What's possible for me? So that gap can either be like a pit of despair or a sandbox of opportunity. And so how we see the gap is the game. But I think so many of us, including myself, saw any time that I wasn't where I wanted to be as a net loss, like as a I'm not there yet. And so really our ambition is pulled We can have anxious ambition, which comes from a place where we're working because we feel behind or we're in a comparison spiral, which happens a lot. Or there's inspired ambition, which is we're working because we feel like we're making something better or we're working something that's deeply interesting to us.
Really good.
So we got to get comfortable that there will always be a gap.
I used to have that. I need to bring it back. I did a whole series once on what I call blissful dissatisfaction.
Oh, tell me about that.
Well, I'll tell you briefly because I want to know your thoughts on things. But what I uncovered, and it took me till I was about 45. I think I probably created that message and content was that we conflate happiness and satisfaction. I think you can live in bliss and still have a level of dissatisfaction between knowing this is where I am and this is my capacity or my potential. That dissatisfaction, I don't want to lose that. That's the pull power. That's the magnet. That's the thing that says I want to grow and expand my being and help more people and meet the version of me that I'm capable of becoming. That's dissatisfaction. I can still be blissful during the time I'm dissatisfied.
Yeah.
In fact, some of the happiest times of my life is when I was the most broke, the most dissatisfied. It's when I was grinding. It's when the business just started. It's when I was in college with a job and playing baseball. And I didn't have anything going, but I was the most happy. I was blissfully dissatisfied. But I found a way to be happy in the dissatisfaction. And I think most people think, well, satisfaction is happiness. Not always. In fact, what you said about the Olympic athletes is completely been true. They actually studied the brain. It turns out you get more dopamine, serotonin in the pursuit of the goal.
Exactly.
And it falls off the charts once you cross the finish line and get it. Your brain just stops giving you the joy chemicals.
Yes.
So you're totally right about that.
Yeah. And something you were saying that I just realized right now is kind of a litmus test that we can give ourselves is how do we feel when we receive feedback? I used to, when I would receive feedback, it would be, I would get on the defense. Oh my gosh, I'm being attacked. I'm not good enough. I'm not there yet. And then now, if I get feedback from credible people, I am so excited because I truly do want to know how I can be better. And so almost like, what's your disposition when someone's giving you feedback?
Very good.
Can be really telling as to like how you see yourself in your pursuit of ambition.
Really?
Is it this like hamster wheel rat race, or is it, oh, I'm really excited to see what I can become?
It's also where you expend your energy. Like, I've met you now. You are what you say in the book, which I love that. Not everybody that I've interviewed is who they say they are in the book. Yeah. And I like this about you very much. You're authentic.
Thanks.
And one of the things you say in the book, you say it the better way, your way. I'll mess it up and then you fix it, okay? But there's a part of the book where you're talking about this misbelief that we almost have, that we waste energy on almost stressing and fretting over the success or progress other people appear to be making.
Yes.
And it takes from us. You say something, say it your way, but you say something like just because they're winning, you're not losing, or something like that. How do you say it, and what's the principle?
So, like any normal human being, I find myself at 9 p.m. scrolling and comparing myself to all the other squares on the internet.
Gosh.
And I have found that, you know, you can see people who have something that you want in two different ways. Comparison is seeing someone else's win as your loss. You know, they got the stage, they got the TED Talk, they got the, you know, accolade. I didn't get it, so therefore I'm less than them. So comparison is seeing someone's win as your loss. Inspiration, however, is seeing someone else's win as evidence that it's possible for you. Oh, they could do it, which means I can do it. That person, you know, could get it, which I wonder what their path was. And so, you know, in my line of work today, I help women speakers get on stages, and it's a very leading from evidence that it's possible and not comparing yourself to other speakers, because those speakers already exist. They need you. Yeah.
We're going to talk about the women speaking thing in a minute. Actually, just speaking in a second, because you are tremendous.
Oh, thanks.
It's something I've done a little of myself.
I think so,
and so we'll talk about that. But before we go to that topic, because I think in order to get there anywhere, you have to make some distinctions. And I don't like reading books, frankly, at this stage in my life. I feel like I've already read that book written by another author.
The book that could have been an email.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or it's just, frankly, someone else's work.
Yeah.
And that's not this book.
Oh, appreciate that.
And you make a great distinction in your work about the difference. Again, you say it your way, not the way I keep butchering it, but the difference between external motivation and internal.
Yeah.
And I know it's right because I've lived it, but I never articulated it this way. So what's the difference between the two, and is one more powerful than the other or meaningful?
Well, going back to Bernie's story, I feel like that moment of when he was paying people in nickels and how just the ripple effect of that, it taught me just the deep cost of being motivated by external things and what a slippery slope that can be. And when you base like your success and your achievement on someone else, you're putting it in someone else's hands. And so I'll give you a quick story. I was at very early in my speaking career, I was at an event that I spoke at, and I was very new, and there was another very big name speaker there. And let's just call him Bill for the sake of the story. That wasn't his name. And Bill came up to me after, and I remember he goes, "Do you have a valid passport?" And I was like, "Absolutely, I do," even though I did not. He goes, "Good, because I'm going to make you a world-class speaker. Like, you're coming with me." And I was just euphoric. I'm like, called my mom. I'm like, "You're not going to believe it. I met Bill. He picked me. Like, he selected me. And he's going to make me the thing that I want to become." I waited by the phone, never heard from him again. And it was this moment where I was like, oh, well, that was my ticket. Like that external thing, that person selecting me was the thing that was going to get me to where I wanted to go. And so you kind of feel like you were holding the lottery ticket and the wind blew. You're like, man, that was it. So then I had a choice where I'm like, okay, do I just let that be the deciding factor? Or do I keep being consistent, keep getting the mic wherever I can? And then that's when I started teaming up with other women who were also speaking. Let's watch each other's footage. Let's refer each other. And then I started getting the reps. And 8 years later, I was speaking at an event, and Bill was speaking there.
I'm going to know who Bill is when we're done.
Yeah.
So you know.
And I realized in that moment, like I was standing in the spot that I thought only Bill could get me to.
Ooh, good.
And I got there through my own intrinsic work, my own like getting the reps, consistency, and teaming up with other women. And so I, for a long time, thought success was being selected. You know, someone else would pick me and tell me that I was, would endorse my book, would do this. If they picked me, then I got it. But I felt like true success happened when I stopped looking for the hand and started offering one.
Oh, boy.
It was looking around. Very good. Yeah. And so that's where this difference between extrinsic, waiting for someone else to pick you, select you, or getting something that can be measured, whereas intrinsic is like, it has the greatest horsepower and secret. No one needs to know about it.
It's very good.
It's only you.
It's good. Yeah, it's the idea of like you think you need to be invited to sit at the table. Instead, pull up the chair and sit there.
100%.
Yeah. I got to tell you, today's an interesting day for me, since we're going to talk about speaking in a minute, but I want you to talk about this. We're at the scene today where you and I are sitting of really the first speech I ever gave that was a public speech. Like literally with we could walk to where it is, this town where we're here. And I didn't do very well. And I wanted to talk and speak, but it wasn't my primary desire to become, speak all around the world or whatever. But I just didn't do well. Yeah. And I remember getting back, and I want to talk about the stories we tell ourselves, because you talk about this a little bit too. So I get back, and my dad's like, "Hey, how'd you do?" And I go, it wasn't good. And he goes, "I'm sure it was better than you think." I said, "Nah, actually not. It just wasn't good." And he goes, "Well, why do you think that is?" My dad always asks questions. "Why do you think that is?" And I said, I just think the way, Dad, that I'm wired, and I'm an introvert, and, and I'm not really motivated like these other people. I'm not a jump up and down, rah-rah kind of guy. And so I just don't really believe I'm kind of wired to, which is ironic because now I, do it a lot. And I just don't think I just don't believe I'm wired to do it. And then I gave him a story of when I was a kid. Yeah. And my dad stepped back, goes, "Huh?" And he kind of looks down. He goes, "Well, I wonder what you would need to believe so you could be a good speaker." I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Well, what would you need to believe? Like, you don't believe. What would you need to believe?" And then I go, "I don't know." And he goes, "I think, Eddie, it's in the story. If you would change the story, you would change what you believe." Yes. And I went, this is a pretty smart guy.
Yeah, now I see where you came from. Yeah.
He's just a guy. My dad was like, there's wisdom in there. Yeah. And I started to think about, what would the story need to be?
Yeah.
What story would I need to tell myself? And I finally figured out, you know what? There's millions of people more like me than like these extroverted speakers.
Yes.
And I could be the one to give everybody hope that somehow someone like me, I started to change the story, and I changed what I believed. You talk about sort of like the story we tell ourselves in your work.
Yeah.
What would you tell someone who's listening today? I want to make my dreams come true. I'm being held back. I don't believe. Do you think it's probably connected to a story?
Oh my gosh. I remember I was in fourth grade, and apparently there's one day in fourth grade where you learn fractions. And if you're not there on that day, good luck with fractions for the rest of your life.
Right.
And I missed that day.
I was,
and I get back to school the next day. The teacher calls me up to the board to do some like, what's 1/4 of, 80? I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know. And I, for 30 years from that whiteboard, told myself I'm not good with numbers. Like, I'm just bad at math. I'm not good with numbers. I would enter any finance meeting for my company making self-deprecating jokes. Oh, like, don't show me the spreadsheet. My eyes will burn. And, I can't do this. And there was just one day where I finally realized this belief has been so repetitive that I mistake it for truth, where I'm like, I'm running 2 multi-million-dollar businesses. I'm employing all these people. I gotta be good with numbers.
Right.
Gotta have something. I can do it.
Right.
And so I made this decision in that moment. I was like, no more. I'm not coming in with the self-deprecating jokes in finance meetings. I am not, putting the numbers also in someone else's hands where I'm not aware of them anymore. And a lot of times we can track a limiting belief to an origin story.
Yeah.
And that was my origin story. And so once you realize, oh, that's where it was, not built off of this mountain of evidence, but like one event.
Yes.
And it can just dispel it.
And I think the more emotional the event,
Yeah.
the stronger the belief is rooted in our
100%.
nervous system.
Yes. And childhood and just, the vulnerability of it. I'm an introvert as well, which
Are
I
you
also
really?
think is very interesting being speakers.
Yeah.
I'm more comfortable on a stage in 5,000 people than I am,
So am I.
one-to-one. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Very interesting. Same here.
Yeah.
In fact, the more people in the arena,
The better
the
I
more
feel.
comfortable I am.
Why is that?
I don't know. I did last week. I had 2 talks. One was about 20,000.
Yeah.
Felt good.
Yep.
Confident. Crushed. The other one was like 50 in Mexico. I had to go
Yeah.
down there in 50. And
it-
I don't know, whatever the thing is I have that is good wasn't there.
Yep.
And I just felt more I don't know, maybe it's because I could see every eye.
Yes.
So I'm thinking of what they're thinking. I don't know. But at this
Yeah.
stage, I don't know how many people I've talked in front of, but it's maybe 100 million. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
I don't know. Millions for sure. Maybe
Right.
not 100 million, but millions and millions. And it was,
I'll do the math for you.
yeah, yeah, that's right. You're good at math. Turns out you're good at math. I don't know. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm sure it went okay, but I was so nervous and
Yes.
so awkward. And it took me a long time to get into my flow and rhythm, much longer than normal.
Yeah.
You would think the reverse. That's the easy one. There's 50 people or it's just one-on-one. Ah, man,
I'm the same way.
That's
and it's so
interesting.
interesting. I do think there's a vulnerability to a smaller audience where you can really see people. There's more, maybe pressure's not the right word, but like opportunity to be more interactive. Whereas with a stage of 5,000 people, you have your set. Like you have your control. Not that you do the same thing every time, but you're like, I know how this goes.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think way more people want to speak than admit it even to themselves. Meaning this, and this is where we're going to shift into where you're a guru. So a lot of people will tell themselves, well, I don't like speaking or I don't want to speak. Or is it you're afraid of it? I mean,
Yeah.
there's a difference that you don't like it or wouldn't be good at it or that you have a fear for it.
Yeah.
Most people, I think, would love to be able to get out and give a beautiful toast at their child's wedding.
Right.
Right. Or be more effective because you teach different speaking. You teach stage speaking,
Yes.
but you also teach business speaking, being in a boardroom, being able to communicate with 10 people sitting around a table, right?
Yeah.
So let's start foundationally. And I think this is fair to ask first. Can almost anyone get good at it? Or is there some like little anointing that certain people have in terms of speaking? So if you listen to this show or you watch this show, here's what I know about you. You're trying to feel healthier. You're trying to feel more energy. You're trying to live longer and live better. But here's what most people miss. I missed it for a long time. Your liver health. It affects literally everything. It affects your energy, your digestion, how your skin looks, even your metabolism. Dose for Your Liver is a clinically backed liver health supplement, one of a kind. This isn't just another capsule or powder. Dose is a liquid supplement. It's taken in a daily 2-ounce shot, and it tastes like fresh squeezed orange juice. Tastes really, really good. You're going to reduce sluggishness. You're going to get rid of midday crashes. It is one of those things you can't overlook, which is your liver, and Dose is the answer. Ready to give your liver the support it deserves? Head to dosedaily.co/Mylett or enter Mylett to get, listen to this, 35% off your first subscription. Your body does so much for you. Let's do something for it. That's dosedaily.co/Mylett for 35% off your first month subscription. You know, when I started this podcast, it seemed like I had to figure everything out on my own. So finding the right tool that not only helps you out, but simplifies everything can be a game changer. And it was for me, and it's been for millions of other businesses. And that tool is Shopify. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world. In fact, listen to this. 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S., 10% from household names that you know to brands just getting started. So big and small brands, you can do the same. Get started with your own design studio with hundreds of ready-to-use templates. Shopify can help you build a beautiful online store that matches your style. It can get the word out for you with marketing, easily create email and social media campaigns. Wherever your customers are scrolling, they got 24/7 customer support. So listen, start your business today with the industry's best partner, Shopify, and start hearing. Sign up for your $1 per month trial today at shopify.com/Mylett. Go to shopify.com/Mylett. That's shopify.com/Mylett.
I will say something maybe controversial, but I think that if you think you're bad at speaking, you probably have the opportunity to be a great speaker because there's a curiosity, there's a humbleness to it. Someone the other day was like, well, you teach people to be experts. If you teach people to be speakers, you teach people to be experts. I'm like, no, I actually teach them to be students because to be a speaker, my opinion is that you now are not speaking on something that you feel like you're an expert at. You're speaking about something that you are just lifelong curious about because whatever topic it is, motivation, whatever you're speaking about, it's going to change. How we get there, public speaking. I don't consider myself, I'm pretty good at it, but I wouldn't say that I'm an expert because now with AI, there's just so many changes. I'm a lifelong student of it. So I think that if you almost have the fear of public speaking, I don't know if I can do this, you probably have this like relatable, humble approach that can make you a great speaker. Now, there's definitely tips and mindset tricks that we can get into that can help with that, but I think anyone can be a great speaker.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. Gary Vee, I interviewed Gary this week. It won't be out for a while, but in fact, it'll probably come out before this one. But we were talking about one of my favorite characteristics or qualities in my friends is curiosity. I love curious people because you know what? That's one of the ways you lose the kid in you.
Yes.
You lose curiosity. Children are so curious, right? So like that one word right there about you're curious about this, that should be a clue to someone as well. The fact that you're curious or it's mystical to you or man, you wish you could be better at it. That's usually, I think that's your soul saying you should take a look over here.
Yes.
You should be curious over here. This is something that might be for you, even though it seems scary.
I like to say, if a topic was brought up in a room, like what would pique your interest? Like, I'm really excited to talk about that. Or the other thing I ask people, if I gave you money for a billboard on your local highway and you could put one phrase on it, one thing that you want people to know, what would it be?
Interesting.
And people have something. Like, everyone has survived their hardest days. And speaking isn't about sharing your highlight reel. It's sharing like what you wish you would have known. I had the chance last week to give the commencement address at my high school graduation, which was awesome. And it was such a gift to be able to say, oh, what did I wish I knew in that moment? And the thing that I think a lot of speakers get wrong is that in order to teach what you learned, you have to teach where you failed. Like, you have to show where, like, oh, that didn't go so well. And so let me tell that story. But in the beginning of my speaking career, I thought it was all about sharing why I deserve to be there, why I'm credible. I've been on the Today Show. I've done this. I've done these things. I've done all this stuff. I deserve to be here. No one was learning anything. It was crickets. No one wanted to talk to me. There was no spin-off from it. And I remember the exact talk where I got a parking ticket that day. Now someone else got a parking ticket today. I got a parking ticket. It was raining and didn't bring my umbrella. And I was just so tired of trying to step into this role of being what I thought a speaker would be. And I talked about a time where I lost a family investment of my dad was my first investor in my company, and I wired that money to what was a fraudulent manufacturer and ended up losing that investment. And what I did next. And it was the speech that made me a speaker because it wasn't about me anymore.
Did everybody just hear this?
Yeah.
So profound, what you just said. Once you start revealing your imperfections and being willing to connect with people, then you've met them somewhere. You don't have to have this resume.
Yeah.
The resume distances you from the room.
Totally.
You know, of all the, and by the way, in a minute, you're going to tell us what you told the high schoolers. I haven't forgotten that.
Okay, yeah,
But
yeah.
I want to tell you something, how true. By the way, everyone lean in here, okay? Because she's so right. Early in my career, when I was in the financial business, they would bring in all these millionaire speakers to teach. I don't know. This guy's worth $3 million. This guy's worth $2 million. This lady's worth $9 million. And they would give these talks. And I'm from a lower middle class family. Poor, was on welfare when I was a little boy. I couldn't connect with any of these guys. Yeah. And one night, the speaker flaked on this speaker series. So they brought in this dude. I remember his name. I'm going to say it. I don't even know if he's still alive. They brought in this man, little Filipino man. His name was Ben Patao. I sat in the front row, and almost no one showed up because the named speaker didn't come, and some guy named Ben. And I remember, this was like a million years ago, but I remember he walked up, and he had a simple suit on, and he said, you know, I know you were going to have so-and-so here, and you've had all these $1 million speakers. And he said, I've never made $1 million a year. But I've made 300,000. And he goes, and I don't know how many of you would be interested in that, but I do know how to do that. I've done it. It took me 20 years, but I do know how to do it. So tonight, if you're interested, I can teach you how to make $300,000 in this business. Man, I leaned in.
Yes.
And he started talking about his family. He's a simple man and simply spoken too. That, to this day, Ben Patao, right, was the most impactful speaker of my life.
I love that.
And I am not I've never said that on any interview anywhere ever till right now. I just got goosies.
Yes.
And I've talked about everything.
Yeah.
I am not talking to you. I am quitting that business, by the way, almost for sure, because I couldn't relate to these suits and the shoes they were wearing and the words they use. This simple man.
Yeah.
And by the way, that was a lot of money. And I thought, man, if I could make 300,000 in a year, I could have a house. I could probably pay it off someday. It gave me my first dream. I couldn't buy this huge dream. I needed just a dream.
Yes.
And he sold me the dream in a way because he was vulnerable and real. You know what a lot of people making 300 grand would have done? Come in and faked they were making more.
100%. Let's triple it. Yeah.
Right. Let's triple it.
Yeah.
So
Round up to $1 million. Yeah.
You're so right.
And people need to be able to connect the dots between where they're sitting and where you're standing. And whether that's in an audience or whether that's on social media, but it's like there has to be a clear path of like, oh, that's possible for me. I catch myself sometimes too, you know, as a speaker. It's like I'm speaking to, you know, these large companies, and I'm like, well, I need to step into this role of knowing everything, like that I have it all figured out. But I'll tell you, I mean, like like I can share some of those stories, and then I'll share a story about how, you know, my kid threw a fit in the grocery store, and people are like, oh, I get. When I started, I've shared a couple times on stage Bernie's story, and the amount of people that have come up to me that have had something that they just have never talked about, a relative or, you know, something that they've just been ashamed or embarrassed of, and how it just gave them permission.
Yep.
They need to be able to draw the line between where they're sitting and where you're standing, or else it won't resonate.
A lot of depth in your work, by the way.
Thanks.
A lot of depth. I really enjoy how you think.
I appreciate
what you tell
that.
the high schoolers. Give us
Gosh,
one
I'll
thing.
give you one thing.
Okay.
The thing that I think I needed to hear right now, that I was wondering, because one of my favorite parts about speaking, going back to curiosity, is the pre-call. You know, you talk to the event before. Tell me what keeps people up at night. What are they thinking? A lot of times you have no idea. I'm like, I don't know what a insurance stock planning, I don't know. And so tell me. So I did the same. I called teachers, tell me what this class of 2026 is feeling. And they're like, they're really scared of AI
Yep.
and what it's doing.
A lot of booze at commencement addresses.
A
when
lot of
someone said
booze.
AI.
I was like, okay, let's not do that. But I was like, you got to address it
Yep.
because it's here.
It's there.
They're like, well, they don't know what their place is in this. The ambition levels are low. So I'm like, what is true in this, and what do I need to tell them? And it just came back to this overwhelming belief that, like, AI makes a lot of things uncertain, but one certainty is that being a good human always wins. I mean, the amount, and I know you see this, of opportunities, promotions, partnerships, because they're like, Ed's a good man. He's a good person. Let's bring him here. Like, I don't even know what, maybe his topic is right now, but he's a good person. And so hold the door, take out your AirPods when you're at the airport, talk to the, older person, pour someone else's water before you pour your own. Just like the basic human things is our most competitive advantage right now.
Oh my gosh.
And
So good.
that's
It's so, look, when I do the show, I'm just tell you, you just explained my life to me. I'm running on the beach. I'm in Hawaii. I'm 29 years old. I'm running down this beach early in the morning. Sun's not up yet. There's a guy running towards me. That's so long ago. We're both wearing Sony Walkman. You probably don't even know what that is, but someone.
I
in my eyes
remember.
does. Okay.
Listen to Backstreet Boys.
Guess who's running towards me? Backstreet Boys. Wayne Dyer.
Oh, wow.
Some of you don't know who he is,
Yeah.
but he's on the Mount Rushmore of all-time great influencers. He's running towards me. He runs by me, and I say, Dr. Dyer. And he hears me through his Walkman. I said, you changed my life.
Wow.
And he goes, I doubt it. I bet you changed your life. But how did I help? And he walks up and kneels down, and we sit on the beach, watch the sun come up for an hour and a half.
Stop.
And he ended up being my friend the rest of my life. You said you complimented him when we were off camera about that I meet people where they are, and that's because my hero, when I met him, did it for me. Anyway, at the end of the conversation, he goes, Eddie. He puts his arm on me. He goes, you're going to change the world. And I thought I was the only person he ever said that to.
Yeah.
I'm sure he had said it to others. But let me tell you why he said it. He goes, and Ed, I do think you're brilliant, which I'm not. And he goes, and the way you communicate, I don't know that I've ever seen this before. And that's not why. And he goes, Ed, will you do me a favor and never attach your confidence to your abilities
Wow.
or your results, because they're going to go up and down. He said, you'll be chasing that tail all your life, young man. He goes, Ed, let me tell you why you're going to change the world. And I'm there all ears.
Yeah, locked in.
He says, because you're a good man. He said, the power of your intentions, Ed.
Yeah.
You intend to do well. He goes, by the way, you always won't.
Yeah.
But your intentions are to help. Your intentions, you're a good man. Do you know that was the first compliment of my entire life I believed?
Yeah.
I never believed the other compliments. That, I thought, I am a pretty good person. Yeah. And I didn't know it. He's writing a book at that time called The Power of Intentions, which I also recommend. And so before I give a speech, before we do this podcast, before I walk into a boardroom, before I do anything, I remind myself, I'm a good man.
Yeah.
My intentions are to serve. My intentions are to make a difference. And I do have very high self-confidence as a result of that. And you are the only person in 10 years and 900 episodes who's ever said that on the show first to me. That was really good.
It is. That story just gave me, like, if people could have that moment, and I hope whoever's listening does, it's just like, that's it. That's all we got. My kind of gut check for this is I always play peekaboo with babies in the grocery store. I'm like, if I'm waiting in line and there's a mom with a baby or something in the cart, or I'm on a plane and the baby's like, I'm playing peekaboo. And for me, it is like a grounding reminder of just like, life isn't that serious, and just be the good person. Like, I love when people like come up and like, play with my kids when they're like being wild, and I'm just like, play peekaboo.
You are awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. This is like one of these Holy Spirit type interviews. I have to tell you why.
Yeah,
So what you just said about peekaboo and have that child thing, life's not that serious. The other thing Wayne would do with me till the day he died, he's so funny. I would get worked up about things going on in life, right? And I'm stressed, Wayne, and this or that. He was a dear friend. And he would call me back and say, Ed, listen to me. And this is what he would say to me. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 merrily. Ed, life is but a dream.
My God.
And he would say this to me. And by the way, I'm writing a book on it right now. And I'm using it in my content, but it was the exact same reminder of playing peekaboo with yourself.
Yeah.
Reminding you, this thing's just a dream.
Life's not that
Take it easy.
You got it.
Because he knew my tendency was to get so wound up. Like, just take it easy, Ed. Take it easy. He would be that person in my life. Isn't that cute? Isn't that good?
He
was
just
amazing.
Delightful.
And when you have that type of person in your life, most things in life are caught, not taught. You tend to want to become more that way yourself.
Yes, exactly.
As you get older.
Can I give you one more thing that is on this that I think could be helpful based on everything we're talking about? One of the biggest shifts that I think someone can make, I teach this shift, I came up with it as a public speaking tip, and the more I use it at companies, I'm like, this is just a life career shift. There's two different types of speakers. There are spotlight speakers and lighthouse speakers. Spotlight speakers come up on stage, light is shining on them. They're asking themselves, how do I look? How do I sound? Do people like me? They're concerned with perception and perfection. It's how we've been trained to speak, from spelling bees to whatever. We always are like, public speaking is about us. But a lighthouse speaker shifts the light from themselves to their audience or their listener or the baby in the grocery line. And if a spotlight asks, what does everyone think of me? A lighthouse asks, what does everyone need of me? And if you can go be a lighthouse on stage where you're like, where are they at? What do they need? How can I help? Exactly what Wayne did for you, then you'll be okay. Whether that's public speaking, your job, your family. Like, I always ask myself when I am getting really just anxious, overwhelmed, stressed out, where am I shining my light right now?
Very good.
It's usually on me. And so how can I shift from a spotlight to a lighthouse?
Very good. Look at you. This is so good. You tell good stories.
Oh, thanks.
Do you think that that's part of being a great, like when you're teaching these women to speak, is an underlying foundation of it? And if it's not, that's okay. Is part of it storytelling and being a great storyteller?
So the method I teach people, and this is actually for anyone listening, even if you're not a speaker, have a notes app in your phone and call it moment to meaning. And what this is it's a technique that is great for speaking, but just for daily life, where take a moment that happened. You're in the Starbucks drive-through line, the car in front of you pays for your coffee, so you pay for the person behind you. That's a moment, that's a story. What's the meaning for someone else who wasn't in the Starbucks coffee line? Maybe kindness doesn't have to be applauded to be good. Like, you won't be able to thank that person. There are countless moments that happen in our day, big and small, that have tremendous meaning. And when we can start to kind of get that muscle of here's the moment, here's the meaning, and that makes public speaking so much more accessible because, a lesson without a story is just a lecture. No one wants that. And so I think keynote speaking is, and just really any kind of great speaking, is the marriage of both story with lesson, a moment, and the meaning. But I think the key, and what I see a lot of speakers get wrong, is like they think that the moment is, the audience is the same as their story. Oh, I'm an entrepreneur, so therefore I speak to other entrepreneurs. I am work in finance, so I want to speak to other finance. I'm a mom, so I need to speak to other moms. When really the best people who can learn from you are the ones who haven't walked in your shoes and never will. And so practicing what's a moment I experienced, me, and how can I change we? Like, what was the internal moment, and someone who has never experienced that, what can they learn from it?
Really good.
And so the storytelling is a natural part of that, and I think is really important in just being able to meet people where they are, and also keep attention. Keeping attention is hard these days.
Yeah, thank you for that. That's
Yeah.
outstanding. I'm going to use that actually.
Yeah, please.
Really, really good. Let me ask you one more question on the speaking thing, because when people think of you, I think that's one of the first things they think of is about your ability to teach people to speak. And off camera, we were talking about there's performative type speaking, right? Which there's a place for, I suppose. Personally, Wayne, by the way, didn't ever really raise his voice when he spoke.
Yep.
For me, when someone's that way, I tend to lean in. Now, you can't be monotone the entire time. But you don't seem to have that style, and I don't either. What's the difference between like performative speaking and some people I think that teach it's almost like they think they're on Broadway or acting or something. That's not speaking.
Yeah.
That's acting. That's a whole other industry.
Totally.
Speaking is depth of connection with people, right? At least to me.
Yeah.
What's the difference between that? Because I think a lot of people think I can't speak because they think it's almost like playing the guitar or singing. There's a performance happening here.
Yeah.
I don't really. It's not that there isn't an exaggerated part of my personality that will come out from time to time, but I'm not performing, nor do I want to learn performance skills to connect with people. That's not how I look at it. How do you look at it?
Some of the best speakers in the world, and you're one of them, and I bet if you have like an Aura ring or something where you're tracking your heart rate, I bet that there's not that much of a change between standing in the green room and being out on that stage right out there. Do you feel like that's true?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that if you can be who you are and confident enough who you are off stage to on stage, not only are you going to be just more relatable, because just like we were talking about, people want the 300,000, like tell me the story that I can relate to. It's the same as how we're coming across. I mean, if you have this just like, I can't relate to that kind of performative, then you're going to start to lose people. And so I also say speaking for me isn't the finish line, it's a starting block. I want speaking to lead to books. I want speaking to lead to this, meeting people. And if there's a role I have to keep up in all these other things, that's exhausting.
Yeah.
You know, like I feel so bad for some people who are like played a character on TV that everyone expects that character of them. And it's like, no, I am not, like that person. I'm me. And that's kind of like, if I'm going to make it, I want to make it being me, because one, I think it's more fun that way. But two, I'm like, I don't have the energy to keep up a role in all these other rooms.
You're so right. Same here. When I was younger, there was a different me up there.
Yeah.
So draining. Okay,
So
I have to turn into this guy out there today. Like,
yes.
I don't have to do that anymore. I just left the green room and I've walked out and I'm now me.
Yeah.
All right, last question. By the way, I haven't done a lot of interviews where I'm like, I really wish we had more time.
I know. Same.
I really,
I
well, thank you.
that
Makes me feel good. Thank you. Speaking of energy, this is off everything we've talked about. 3-year-old, 1-year-old. Okay. Yeah. And I remember those days.
Yeah.
I think probably added being a mom over a dad. There's just stuff moms typically do that dads don't always do.
Yeah.
And so unfortunately, women get asked this question more than men, but I'd ask it if you were a man as well. But like, that's a lot. Do you have a system or strategy, or are you just like losing it all the time because life's crazy? Put that, because a lot of people are saying, I'm not going to start my second business. I'm not going to start my career because almost like their kids are the excuse not to do something, right? Because my kids are this age. Well, now my kids are teenagers. It's like, so how do you hold all that in place and still have joy?
Well, one, I appreciate the thoughtfulness of that question, because I am all for ask me anything, but ask the man too. I mean, there's so many times I get, who's watching your kids? Their dad.
No one asked.
Exactly.
I had Jessica Mendoza on for ESPN, and she says, I'm so glad you asked me it that way.
Yes.
Because she goes, I've noticed men don't get asked this question. I said, no, I'm asking the dudes too, right at that age. But it is, but if we're being honest, there are things with moms, I think, that are additionally taxing and responsible.
Oh, for sure.
That is different for a dad.
Yeah, of course.
But the point being,
well, and I was sharing this with someone the other day. Because, right now, book launch, we just had a conference. I'm on your show. There's so many great kind of shiny, sparkly things in my career right now. People are like, you're on fire. How are you doing this? I'm like, childcare. I have, my parents are close by. I didn't have any, we have someone that helps clean our house. We have someone who helps, comes and meal preps, and So I think it's important to remember all of the load that a lot of women and men carry. Behind like every woman on fire is a village she could afford. I can afford this village right now of all of this help in my house so that I can come here and be with you and that I can do this. But that's also a choice. Like there's kind of when you start to have a family, and at least for me, I wasn't sure where the chips would fall of, am I going to want help in my career or at home? I'm going to need help somewhere. Where is it going to be? And I realized with a lot of guilt that came with it, I'm being honest, that I wanted that help at home because I really love building. And my husband and I had this conversation because I always felt like every time I got on a plane to speak or any time there was work and I had to say goodbye, it was a have to, not a get to. And the way I was explaining it to my kids was like, I have to go instead of I get to go meet with this guy, Ed. I get to go speak on stage. So we came to this conclusion that I hope and any other working moms or dads can maybe feel free to take this, is my parenting philosophy now is I want my kids to see me trying. That is, I think, more important to me than any, thing that I might be able to like sit down and tell them for 5 minutes is they actually watched mommy try to build something. I brought my daughter to and my son to this, book launch event, and they're 1 and 3. They don't really get it now, but I'm like, no, they're going to see me not just succeeding, but also not getting it. And I want them to see it all because they're watching me right now, wondering what's possible for them. And I want their answer to be anything.
Very good. I have to tell you, I've enjoyed this so much today.
Yeah, I forgot we were recording, to be honest.
Seriously, I lost myself in the conversation.
Yeah, same.
You're wonderful.
Same to you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. You're needed.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm going to take you around the world.
Do you have a valid passport?
You don't need that anymore. Where can they find you, number one?
Yes, you can find me LinkedIn, Instagram, Jess Ekstrom, Making It Without Losing It wherever books are sold. I do send out a text every Monday that's just like a thought starter for your week, whether it's a quote or question. Text me the word hype to 704-228-9495. You can meet me there.
Look at you get that in there. That was good.
Yeah.
You're a pro.
Thanks.
You're a pro. Wasn't this good, you guys? Don't you love this when you get introduced to somebody new and she's already killing it and making millions and you're like, oh, if she was a stock, I'd be buying her because it's going to keep going up. Congratulations on your beautiful family and everything you're doing. Share it, you guys. Share this episode. This is why we do the show right here, what you experienced today. God bless you all. Max out your life.